I went to interview, well, ask one question to the Lord Mayor about how does someone become Lord Mayor. He started off by telling you have to be really nice to the councillors because those are the people that choose you, and a week before everybody in a meeting room says who do you want to become Lord Mayor, then they all have their ideas ready, so when they go to like a big meeting place, they already know who they're going to vote for, and then he got voted. How does somebody become Lord Mayor?
So you have to become a councillor, first of all. So that's the main thing, number one. It's then normally given to, or voted in as the person who's got the most time as Lord Mayor who hasn't already done it, because you only get to do it for a year. So it's being a councillor and then staying on as a councillor and getting re-elected at elections until you've got enough time that eventually they come and ask you. And then the third thing is you've got to be liked by all the other councillors so that they'll actually vote you in. And when they do the meeting where they vote you in as the Lord Mayor, they don't like it to be a mess, so they'll ask everybody in advance, are you okay, are you going to vote for this Lord Mayor? So it's all agreed in advance. So if you've spent your time upsetting all the other councillors, then enough of them will say, no, we're not having him as Lord Mayor, or we're not going to have her as Lord Mayor, and she won't get a chance. So it's kind of, it's not that everybody's got to like you, but they've got to respect you and think that you'll be able to do a good job as Lord Mayor.
What did it take to become Lord Mayor?
Well, you've actually got to want to do it. And I had a councillor very early on who I knew who said, oh, you don't want to be Lord Mayor, it's the worst job, you've got to spend a whole year going around smiling and being nice to people. And you know, for a while I thought there was some truth in that actually, God, why would you want to do that? Why would you just want to go to so many schools and things? But then after a while I realised, actually, this guy's got it all wrong. It's a really grumpy attitude. And I know there are some councillors who've turned down the opportunity of being Lord Mayor, and I think they've really missed out, because you know, if you actually really think about it, what you're getting is an opportunity to go and meet so many different people. You only do it for 1 year, so if you can't actually, you know, make yourself feel positive for a year about the city you live in, about all the things that are going on, then I think it's a bit sad. So when I was originally asked, I didn't want to rush into it. I said, right, well, just give me a couple of days to think about it. But it didn't take very long before you kind of get this instinctive feeling that it's like, yeah, actually, it would be a real honour. I think it'd be really interesting. And I think actually, you know, an opportunity to do it a little bit differently, but still do all the important things. So I think that's beyond the technical things of just, yeah, have you been a councillor for long enough and can you chair a meeting? It's that thing in yourself of being positive about the city, but also positive about what you could do, and do you feel that you'd be able to add something by doing the role? And hopefully I got it right.
Lord Mayor came, and he came into the room, and then when we saw him, I sort of went, oh, because he came in and he didn't come in looking like super smart in like, I guess his whole attire, I guess. And then like he came in and he was all sweaty and stuff, and I was like, oh, I didn't say anything because, you know, he's the Lord Mayor. So, and then I just left it. And then he came round, shook everyone's hand and asked us all our names. It's quite an honour, I guess. So before you became Lord Mayor, did you have to make any changes?
Well, we certainly had to think about how we're going to fit in being Lord Mayor, as well as having a fairly young family. So my son's 3 and my daughter's 8. And as well as being a councillor, it actually shifted that most of my time was actually looking after them. So what we've got to think was how, as a family, so I had to have a word with my wife and talk it through about could we fit it all in. But it actually seems to be a time that'll work quite well. If it had been another year or two, I might have been doing more work. So we said, yes, we'll do it. But it's then, we're doing the being Lord Mayor thing slightly differently because a lot of the previous Lord Mayors have been retired and they've had lots of free time and they can do anything they want. So there's been some meetings I've been saying, right, can we shift the time a little bit? Because if I get the meeting done in the afternoon, then I can go off and pick my children up from, childcare or something, or they'll go, oh, is the Lady Mayoress coming to this event with you? Because my wife's the Lady Mayoress. And I'm like, well, not sure, it depends whether we can get a babysitter. So what's unusual probably for this year is that actually there's a Lord Mayor who's trying to fit it in amongst having a family as well. But the way society's changing, you think you should be able to make these things work. It's working so far. So, but that's where most of the changes are around trying to do things with a family.
What is the best thing about being Lord Mayor?
I think really it's the opportunity to just meet so many different people in the space of 1 year. So you kind of, as a councillor, you'll get invited to some things, a few things in your local area and a few other things to the city. When you're Lord Mayor for the whole of Leicester, you get invited to things going on everywhere. So, on Saturday, I did the official opening for the Carnival and ended up standing next to the Carnival Queen, which was strange, and I'll never get to do that again. But then on another day, you'll just be thanking somebody and sitting down and getting to know them. Another day, there might be a tour of the public coming into the town hall and you're explaining some of the history, all these different things you're doing, going to schools. I think it's kind of a real honour for me to be kind of given that position and actually to go and meet all these people and find out about so many things about a city I've kind of lived in for more than half my life, because I've been to a few other places but been here so long and you still only get to see a really small part of it, and this year I'm going to get to see a lot more.
I'd already met him before at City Hall. I didn't get to ask my question because someone else wanted to, so I asked him question about his biggest accomplishment since he's been Lord Mayor. He said something about helping bringing in children from schools to learn what it's all about, so they could have another option if they wanted to be the Lord Mayor. He didn't seem so posh, and it just felt like he was just some other guy that I've met.
What has been your biggest accomplishment since being Lord Mayor?
One thing, we've actually started arranging to get lots of schools in, and that was one of the things I set out to do, because I'd never set foot in this building until I was in my 30s, and it was, even the first time I came in, it was a little bit mysterious and a little bit intimidating, and then you quickly learn it's not like that at all. And I think if we could get, and I know that I've had some schools in while I've been a councillor, but I've only been able to help a few of my local schools. So the aim over the year is to get a lot more schools in. And so actually we've had some in, and it's actually meeting school children that I get the best kind of feedback, that they actually kind of help in their communities when they grow up. It would be actually worthwhile, and that's kind of the aim, is to get more people thinking actually in the future I'd like to do it. Because I think if you get a bit of competition amongst people, you get the better people, the people who are very enthusiastic coming in to the council, then that'd be a good thing. So I think that's probably the main achievement, actually visiting schools and explaining to them about the council and being a Lord Mayor and how you become Lord Mayor, and actually arranging for schools to come in and do tours and visits and see the council chamber and come in here.
What is it like being the new Lord Mayor?
Well, it's an honour is the main thing, and it's still a bit of a surprise to me when I think about it that I've actually been kind of made the Lord Mayor, and it's the first citizen representing the city which is a real kind of feels really special. So there is that kind of special feeling. Then some of the practical things, I'm wearing a suit a lot more than I used to, and I have to change shirts a lot. There's a lot of changing clothes. I got asked the other day if I'm like Superman, because it's just like you're getting changed from one lot of clothes for looking after the kids, and then you get the suit on to go to an event, and then if you go back home you can do something else, and then you're back into a suit. So it's, strange things like that I wasn't expecting when I started, but most of the time it's actually a really warm feeling you get from doing kind of nice things and meeting interesting people and people who want to tell you about the good things that they're doing and actually being able to say thank you to them or recognise what they're doing. So yeah, a whole range of kind of surprising things, but just a really nice feeling from doing it all.
We went to go see the Lord Mayor, and I've never heard of him. I didn't know what he did or who he was. So we walked in and this person met us, his name was Chris. Yeah, and we walked upstairs to his room, and Chris, he gave us some water, yeah. The water was so clear. I thought the Lord Mayor was just going to be some, let's say, like posh guy, rich. And then the Lord Mayor, he walked in. He looked so casual, and I was just like, what? I didn't know it was him. So he came round, shook our hands, asked us our names, and yeah, we had like a chat. And then it was time to interview him. So I asked a question, what was his key to success? And he said his key was to if it doesn't work the first time, try again. It will work eventually, and don't give up. Yeah. So Lord Mayor, what was your key to success?
I suppose it's persistence, in the sense of you have to be a councillor to be Lord Mayor. The first election I stood in, I lost, and we kind of looked at it and thought we'd missed our chance, but me and a few other people were going for it, and we kept on working. So I got elected the first time, but then to be the Lord Mayor, you've got to stay for quite a long time. So it's actually then you've got to win. I've won another 3 elections. So it's and you've got to keep working. So you've got to work hard for the area that you're in and make sure that people know that you're working for them as well and what you're doing for them. And then you've got to work hard to get re-elected. And because I've seen a lot of good councillors not get elected, somehow lose, and you're kind of thinking, what went wrong? But so it's kind of that being, thinking that you're going to do it and keeping at it and trying. And actually, when I was first elected, I became the 10th councillor who was a Conservative in the city. Because of the change in the system and various other things happening, for the last 2 elections, I've been the only one to get elected. So we've gone down to 1, and somehow I've managed to cling on and stay there. And it's only by then racking up enough years, so I got asked, they work 2 years ahead because you become Deputy Lord Mayor for the year before, so they ask you ahead, and they go, but it was only when I got to 12 years that it was then my turn to be asked, would you consider being Lord Mayor? So I think that's the key thing, is just keeping at it, and actually even if you don't succeed the first time, keep going.
What is your job as Lord Mayor?
Well, you have a few different things to do as Lord Mayor. You're technically the first citizen of the city, so you're doing things representing all of the people of Leicester. And one of the main ones would be if a member of the royal family comes to the city, or if other important people come, you welcome them to the city on behalf of all of the people. So fingers crossed I get a good royal visit during the year. That'd be a real honour and just interesting and different. I suppose the second one is you're actually the person who chairs the council meetings. So in the council chamber, you sit up higher than everybody else at the front, and you direct how the meeting's taking place. So it's a matter of trying to be fair about how the council meeting is run and following the rules and making sure that the councillors aren't too unruly or misbehave, because that sometimes happens. I suppose the rest of it is it's a mix of recognising what the good things that people have done. People want you to go to the things that they're doing to kind of, as a way of recognising the importance of what they're doing. And you also have a charity appeal. So I'm doing a charitable appeal for the Laura Centre, and so we're trying to work out, different events that we can do during the year which will raise the profile of that charity, because it's quite a small local charity, and raise money for them. So it's kind of a mixture of all those things, as well as then trying to do your job as a councillor as well.
I thought he was going to be really boring at first because, Lord Mayor, and I thought it was going to be like, oh, so you need to do this and you need to do that. And it's going to be really posh, but then I was shocked because he wasn't posh. He was actually quite fun. And I asked him what his advice would be to other people that want to become Lord Mayor. And he gave a pretty long answer, which is what I wasn't surprised. And afterwards, we all shook his hand, and we introduced him to a cuff, which he had never heard. And then he cuffed us all. And it was actually a really cool day.
So, Lord Mayor, what would your advice be to those who want to become Lord Mayor?
Well, I think the most important thing is to set out that you actually are becoming a councillor so that you can help people. And there's actually an important bit. You have to when you become a councillor, you have to swear an oath, and it's about serving the people of the ward that you've been elected to help, but also all of the people of Leicester. And I think that's the important thing. You need to kind of set out with that as your aim when you become a councillor. There's lots of ways of doing it, and I've seen councillors do it in different ways. But if you set out to do that, that when it actually comes that you might have had enough time being a councillor, then you'd be asked to be Lord Mayor, that actually the other councillors will actually think that you do a good job. They'll actually have seen that over time that you've been doing things not just for the people you represent in your ward, but also for the whole of the city. And then you'll have their support. They'll not only vote you in, but also it's important that they actually support the things you're trying to achieve in the year that you're the Lord Mayor. Because if it's just you on your own, there's only so much you can do. But if you've actually got all these people actually thinking, well, we know the Lord Mayor's trying to do these things in the year and we'll help, then that makes it a lot easier.